Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New York State Senator George Amador, New York State Assemblywoman Helene Weinstein, President and CEO of Empire State Development Howard Zemsky, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, and please welcome Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Good morning. To paraphrase Taylor Swift, welcome to New York. Was that not a great video? That was spectacular. That was a spectacular video. Welcome to the 7th Annual Regional Economic Development Awards ceremony. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge some of our distinguished guests, and if they're not actually here, they might be caught in the snow on the thruway, so cut them some slack. Although she has no excuse, our great Mayor of Albany, Kathy Sheehan, is here. She deserves that applause, but so do everybody. If you want to hold your applause, I can get through this list a little bit quicker. We also have our Albany County Executive, Dan McCoy. Onondaga County Executive Joni Mahoney is here. Ulster County Executive Mike Hine is here. Montgomery County Executive Matt Austinforth is here. Broome County Executive Jason Garner, and many, many local elected officials from across the state who've joined us, and our partners in government in the Assembly and Senate will be recognized shortly by one of their colleagues. I also want to thank the incredible team of the governor and his administration, REDC, and all the regional reps who are here today, who are working so tirelessly to execute these policies that we're going to be talking about today. So on behalf of the governor, I want to thank all of you who've taken the mantle of leadership in your regions. We thank particularly those who've been with us since 2011. God bless you for sticking with us that long. You're an amazing group of individuals. I've met so many of you going across the state, cutting ribbons, shoveling dirt. I get asked about this. This is a repetitive use injury from cutting too many ribbons from all the events that you've had me do over the state of New York. So that's a true story, maybe. You know, the governor, working with all of you, has transformed this state into one that is just incredible. We're successful, but it's actually built to last. And as local leaders, all of you have brought your local knowledge, your own passion, your deep care for your communities to the table, because you're the ones who really have a pulse of what's going on. And you've made truly real meaningful difference for all of New Yorkers. And a particular point of pride for me is the city of Buffalo. As Howard Zemsky and John Majori and those of us other locals know, we saw our community literally on its deathbed, going through decades of decline. And the slogan used to be, last one in Buffalo, turn out the lights when you leave. We lost a generation of young people, including my own children. And just yesterday, the reversal. I was there on behalf of the governor to open a $375 million medical school, the Jacobs Medical School in downtown Buffalo, bringing back new life because of all the efforts of our governor and the people who had the vision. And so we're bringing back thousands of people to places like Buffalo, but this story is all over the state. And people need to know this. People need to know. Our legislators need to know this. Our friends in labor, the business community, people from academia, the not-for-profits, but most importantly, the people of the state of New York need to understand the incredible success story that is now enveloping our state. We have become laser-focused on our downtowns, some that were on the verge of becoming ghost towns. We're finally opening up the real potential of our waterfronts and open spaces, reversing decades of decline there as well, peeling back jewels and giving people a real sense of place, a sense of community. We have craft breweries and wineries popping up all over. I just mentioned the governor. We really drink a lot in our state, Governor. I'm going to just put that out there that we just like to have a lot of fun and we like to socialize. We'll just leave it at that. But this also supports our rich agricultural areas and creating new opportunities for them to prosper and new opportunities for agritourism like never before. But at the same time, we're embracing new technologies in biosciences and life sciences and capitalizing on energy projects that will propel New York State into a leader as we have become on global climate change. So today, thanks to the leadership of Governor Cuomo and the exceptional plans that all of you have worked so hard to put forward, we will continue to ensure that this progress moves forward. We have all been eyewitnesses to a transformation that only a few years ago, if you had mentioned it, would have been deemed sheer madness. Governor, you've made believers of all of us, and we are all so proud to be part of the REDC process. Let's take a look together at some of those upstate successes.
For decades, upstate New Yorkers suffered. Businesses fled the region for lower-cost labor. Manufacturing jobs were lost. Local economies were decimated. State government ignored the problem. Then, in 2011, things changed. We took a long, hard look at the problem to find solutions. And while there is no silver bullet, we saw what needed to be done and made it happen with a comprehensive strategy for investing in upstate New York built on what we learned. It's a 6-step plan that meets the challenge and proves upstate and its people matter. Step 1. Find out what really works nationally and internationally. Identify winning economic development strategies. We studied cities and states and countries that reinvented their economies. Where they succeeded, the conclusions were consistent. Academics feeds industry innovation. Livable cities attract talent. Workforce retraining leads to employment, and economic stability is critical to attract new businesses. Step 2. Make New York a business-friendly environment, welcoming to startups and growing existing businesses. New York State was spending too much, taxes were too high, and people believed we were anti-business. So we capped state spending at 2% per year. Government became smaller. State debt was reduced. And we cut taxes. Today, we have the lowest middle-class tax rates since 1947. The lowest manufacturer's tax since 1917, and the lowest corporate tax rate since 1968. And we capped property taxes at 2% while pushing local governments to consolidate services and lower taxes even more. In total, we reduced taxes overall by over $16 billion. Now, all the rating agencies agree New York is moving up, and the world understands New York State is open for business. Step 3. Invest in infrastructure to drive the economy. We made the nation's largest commitment to infrastructure to better connect people with opportunity. Billions of dollars are being invested upstate for new and improved train stations, airports, roads, and bridges. And with the $1 billion new New York broadband program, 98% of New York has access to high-speed broadband. Step 4. Evolve our workforce education and training to meet skills required by the changing economy. To compete in today's economy, we need the best educated workforce. That's why New York State is first in the nation to offer free public education to middle-class students, making our already outstanding network of colleges and universities even stronger. We're also investing in workforce development, retraining and repurposing hardworking New Yorkers with skills for a new economy. And we started new partnerships between our colleges and our companies, like the one between Cornell, SUNY, and Technion in Israel. It's not at Stanford, not at MIT, it's only in New York. And it enables commercialization of academic innovation, like what is happening at Imperium 3, a consortium of companies that have come together in New York's southern tier to commercialize new technologies. With the help of state funding, tax credits, and the intellectual capital of the State University at Binghamton, they are creating new jobs for the region. Step 5. Form regional public-private partnerships to identify innovation economy clusters for potential development. We've identified emerging industries and made targeted investments across upstate, like solar in the western region, photonics in the Finger Lakes, drones in central New York, and advanced manufacturing in the North Country. And for smaller companies, we provide the resources they need to grow through our nation-leading centers of excellence, centers for advanced technology, and manufacturing extension partnerships. Like Datto, a backup recovery services company in the Finger Lakes, investing and growing with its new headquarters in the heart of downtown Rochester. We've created competitions to reward and drive innovation, like the Genius Awards, Luminate, 43 North, and 76 West, all to create more jobs. Step 6. Design localized solutions that develop attractive, livable communities. We established 10 regional economic development councils comprised of local business, education, and community leaders. They know the region, they set the priorities, and they help ensure we are focused on the best projects to help the people in their own communities. And we gave them what they needed to succeed. The state committed $36 billion to help finance the rebirth of upstate New York. We are also revitalizing local downtowns, making them vibrant, walkable spaces to attract new generation talent. And we're creating more opportunities for more people, achieving the highest MWBE goals in the entire nation, so everyone shares in our success. You can see it in the news. You can see it in the numbers. Upstate is seeing higher job growth and adding firms and wages at a better pace than previous years. The wages for new hires, including those who commonly face barriers to employment and economic opportunity, are improving. And upstate New York is finally seeing a growing number of young adults aged 18 to 34, the age where families grow, people spend more, and are in prime working age. Confidence in New York State is growing with more new business filings, more spending on leisure and hospitality, a stronger real estate market, more venture capital activity. In every region of the state, unemployment is down, jobs are up, and tourism is growing. With 5,200 job creation and community development projects that today are 90% complete. Statewide, we have added over 1 million private sector jobs, bringing us to 8.1 million, the highest in our history, with median household income growth outpacing the nation. And you can see it where it matters most, in the lives of the people who make New York State home. All because we cared enough to make a real commitment to revitalize upstate New York.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO of Empire State Development, Howard Zemsky.
Good morning, everyone. Great to be here with you. Thank you for being here with us. So in order to get here, I took out my smartphone and went to the Uber app. Excuse me, this is me. Thank you very much. And there were 3 cars within 4 minutes of my hotel. So I ordered one with some degree of enthusiasm. You know the way it says, please confirm pickup? I was like talking to it. Darn right, I'm confirming, and I pushed the button like this. The car came exactly on time. And because I had been to 6 previous REDC Awards, and I knew the drill, I got in and I said demonstrably, "Take me to the egg." And because the driver was from Albany this year and not from New York City, we didn't end up at Price Chopper. We ended up at the egg, and I went right in. I strode in confidently, almost victoriously, and there I was, in the egg, by myself, looking for all of you. So I found myself in this embarrassing situation. I called my chief of staff, some of you know Lindsay. She answered the phone. She answered the phone and literally said, "You're not at the Egg, are you?" I hung up immediately, so insulted by the presumption that I had made a mistake like that. No, I didn't hang up. I don't hang up on people. I simply said, "No." I said, "Why would I be here at the Egg all by myself?" "Good," she said, "we'll see you at the convention center." The point is, I got here. Using Uber, baby. Let's hear it for the governor for bringing ride-sharing to upstate. The same way Uber disrupted traditional transportation methods, the way the internet disrupted the publishing business, the way 3D printing is disrupting machining, the way Amazon is disrupting retail, our governor disrupted decades-long failed policies. He disrupted the status quo of economic development. And he replaced the one-size-fits-all Albany-centric model and replaced it, thank goodness, with a strategic regional approach we call REDC. I have been on all sides of this process now for 7 years, and I have lived upstate for 36 years. The governor getting all of you and all of your communities into the game of economic development, onto the field, and off of the sidelines has made the biggest difference than anything we could have ever imagined. Let's hear it for the governor. Companies like Tesla and Corning and Alstom and Saab and Griffin Sensors and IBM, On Semiconductor, Norsk Titanium, these are the kinds of investments that we're making. Industries like clean energy, artificial intelligence, unmanned aerial systems, photonics, 3D printing, semiconductors, life sciences. These are the 21st century industries that are now populated across the entire state. Now, there are no silver bullets to turn around 40 tough years. But our investments in innovation, in workforce, in downtown revitalization, and in all the tradable sectors of the economy that you have seen so far and will see in the videos ahead, has brought us record employment, has brought us the lowest unemployment that we have had in a very, very long time, all the while planting seeds for real and continued and transformational and sustainable economic change in this state. And today, celebrating, how appropriate is it that we're celebrating all of your accomplishments in one of the capital regions' economic development successes, the new Albany Capital Center, to help drive business throughout this region for years to come. And I'm talking about over $26 million of annual economic impact and over 100,000 visitors a year. Let's give it up for this center. So I commend and thank all of you from Western New York to Long Island and everywhere in between. You're building a better New York, and you're building the best state in the country. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the man whose vision brought us where we are, who has brought us so far, and the man who believed in all of you a whole lot more than he believed in the status quo, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
That's a beautiful line. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just realized we're not in the egg. I didn't come in Uber. I was wondering how they got all the seats flat like that and the fancy ceiling. What a beautiful facility. Congratulations to Albany. Let's give them a round of applause on this beautiful new convention center. To our great head of economic development, who's just done a masterful job. He's also obviously a pleasure. We're working on his sense of humor. It is getting better, I promise you. But I've been all over the state with him. His reputation, the relationship that he has, the credibility that he has is second to none. He's a beautiful asset to the state of New York. Let's give Howard Zemsky a big round of applause. Our phenomenal Lieutenant Governor, who actually cut so many ribbons, she actually hurt her wrist cutting ribbons. Give her a round of applause. And to my colleagues, I want to thank them very much for joining us, because this is very much a joint enterprise between the executive and the legislative. And the legislature has worked very hard on this program, and they've been a great partner. So let's thank Senator Amador and Assemblymember Weinstein for being here today, and you'll hear from them in a moment. You know, the world is a frightening and a challenging place nowadays. And everything you're doing, everything we're doing in the state doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in the context of what is going on. And it is a chaotic, frightening, challenging time. There are international tensions that we feel. There's anxiety about the economy. There's anxiety about climate change and extreme weather. And these are serious situations. The other morning I was walking through the New York City subway system where a bomb had just been detonated. New scourge of terrorism. And we have the federal government that is reshaping the relationship between the federal government and the states. We have the federal government working on a tax plan that will reshape the economy of the United States of America. That's what it will do. They're trying to get it done very quickly. I believe they're trying to get it done very quickly because they really don't want people to understand what it will do. But it will be transformative, there is no doubt. And everybody has an opinion nowadays. You turn on the TV, you open a newspaper, and it's all filled with opinion. Senator Moynihan used to say, you can have your own opinion, you can't have your own facts. So I want to talk about some facts this morning, without opinion, inarguable facts about where we are. First, what you are doing and what you have done at great sacrifice to yourself. Many of the people on the RED signed on for 1 year or 2 years. They're now in their 7th year of a 1-year commitment or 2-year commitment. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of committee meetings. It's hard to forge consensus. It's hard to get people to agree. Trust me, I know. I work with the Assembly and the Senate. And as flexible a group as they are, it is still hard to reach consensus. So you've given a great personal sacrifice to make this work, and it is working. And when they write the history books, when they write the facts, it's going to be clear that this was the pivot point, especially for upstate New York. This is where you turn the corner. This is where this is the point of inflection, where 50 years of decline turn the corner to incline. That is what you have accomplished. The video goes through it very well. You have the state of New York that is now a partner. And at a time of economic transformation, the one thing you need is someone to help you. It takes money to make money. You're going to retrofit your economy. You're going to transform your economy. You need an investment banker. You need someone to bring financial assistance to the table. The state government should have been playing that role. It didn't for many, many years. Why? Well, practical politics. The New York State Legislature is predominantly downstate New York, 213 legislative members, 105 from New York City. A legislator's job is to bring things back to their district. And you have that big nucleus in New York City. And upstate New York is a long way away, and it's diffuse. And the state government just didn't make it a priority from a financial point of view. Nobody's fault, but that's what it was. To the extent the state government helped, as Howard pointed out, it was a very ad hoc approach. People in Albany would sit there and say, I think this will help Buffalo. I think this will help Rochester. Here's our idea to help Central New York. Well, how do you know from Buffalo what's actually going to stimulate the economy? And you can't just do one ad hoc project. It had to be part of a comprehensive overall business development plan. You're wasting your money when you just do one project. I remember I was in Washington for years. You know what the plan was for Buffalo? They were going to bring a Bass Pro Shop to Buffalo. This was the plan to turn around Buffalo for years. A Bass Pro Shop. How many jobs can you create with a Bass Pro Shop? 10 jobs? 15 jobs? How many fishermen are you going to attract to Buffalo to generate a tourism economy? But that was the plan. That was the whole plan. And by the way, they never even got the Bass Pro Shop. And by the way, incidentally, we now have a Bass Pro Shop nobody noticed at the Cabela's store. But that was literally the entirety of the state's approach. Fact, New York is more business-friendly than ever before, period. Critics say, oh, New York State spends too much money. New York State spends less money than it ever has in recorded history, period. Our budget goes up less than 2% a year, the lowest amount in the history of budget history since they've been keeping numbers. Year to year, 2%. Critics who say, well, the state is spending too much money. The state is spending less than ever before. And by the way, then why did you vote for all those other budgets that had those larger increases? I'm a Democrat. Supposed to be big spending Democrats. Democrats can count, too, I want you to know. And we've had Republican governors where the spending has gone up multiples of what we're now spending. Because we spent less, we could cut taxes. And the simple fact is, every New Yorker pays less taxes today than the day I took office. Every New Yorker, on every level, pays a lower tax rate. Middle class, lowest tax rate since 1947. Even I wasn't born. That's how long ago that was. Manufacturing tax, low since 1917. Low spending, low taxes, aggressive economic development effort like never before. New York open for business. We advertise, we market. Howard Zemsky's traveling all over the world literally to bring businesses back. You add up those three elements, that's a business-friendly economy, and that is what the state of New York now offers. We don't have an ad hoc approach. We don't have a political approach. We don't have a governmental approach to economic development. We said to every region, you're talking about developing jobs, you need a business plan. You don't need a government plan. You don't need a political plan. What is your business plan? What can you make? What can you sell? What will make you economically competitive? And by the way, it's a different answer all across the state. The answer for Buffalo isn't the same answer as Syracuse, isn't the same answer as the Southern Tier. We even have competition among the regions of the state. So develop your business product. What's your niche in the economy that you can develop where you can succeed? If you were going to open up a restaurant, you would want to know, what is the restaurant that I can open that can attract consumers in a niche that the restaurant down the block isn't offering? So Buffalo is focused on the medical industry and solar, and Syracuse is focusing on drone research, and Rochester on photonics, and every region picked its own business plan to advance, and that's what they're doing, and it's working. And it is working. It's not a matter of opinion. It is a matter of fact. There are still facts in the world, in this crazy world of politics and turmoil. There are still facts. And the facts are it is working because it is math, my friends. There are more New Yorkers working today than ever before. When you started, the numbers are these. Unemployment was 7% in the Capital District. Today it's 4%. Finger Lakes, it was 7.5%. It's now 4.6%. Central New York was 7.9, it's now 4.6. Hudson Valley was 7%, now 4.3. Long Island was 7.1, now 4.1. Mohawk Valley was 7.7, now 4.7%. New York City was 9%, it's now 4%. North Country was 6.8%, it's now 5.2%. Southern Tier, 7.6%, now 4.7%. Western New York was 8%, it's now 4.9%. Those are numbers, those are facts, you did it. The unemployment rate is down, and that is inarguable. New York State now has the highest number of private sector jobs in the history of the state of New York, over 8 million jobs. So it is working, and we have to keep it going. But we have another issue that we have to deal with now, which is the federal government is passing a tax plan. And the tax plan is going to be highly problematic to the state of New York. First of all, what the tax plan says is it was a tax plan that was marketed to help the middle class and the working families. That is not what it is. Fact, 60% of the benefit, of the tax benefit, goes to the top 1%. 60% of the tax benefit goes to the top 1%. That's the fact. Their opinion, those who defend it, is, well, if you stimulate the economy with the top 1% and the corporations get a break, they will wind up paying workers higher wages. That's an opinion. How do you know the corporation will pay the workers higher wages? Is there a provision in the tax code that says they must take those monies and pay the workers? No. But we assume the corporations will take that tax cut and give it to the workers. Or they could pay the CEO a higher salary, or they could do a dividend, or they could go buy a summer house in the south of France, right? So there is no connectivity to the fact that the tax cut will actually stimulate and do more for the middle class at all. One thing we know about the tax plan, it has a provision that is especially problematic to the state of New York. And that is the provision that eliminates the deductibility of state and local taxes. Now, this is an arrow designed at the heart of the state of New York. Property taxes and state income taxes are what we have been fighting for 7 years. When we talk about property taxes, remember, property taxes are 2.5 times what the state income tax is. Some of the highest property taxes in the United States of America are right here in New York. And we've been fighting that battle every year. First time we passed a 2% tax cap to cap the growth of property taxes. State picked up the Medicaid funding from counties so we could keep property taxes low. We just last year started a shared services initiative to get local governments to work together. This federal tax plan blows that all out of the water. When you eliminate the deductibility of the property taxes, you know what you're doing? You're raising everybody's property taxes 20 to 25%. Think about it. Highest property taxes in the United States, highest property taxes by percentages of home value in upstate New York. We're talking about a 2% cap. It just went up 20, 25% in 1 year, one fell swoop. State income taxes. We kill ourselves to keep the state spending low so we can reduce taxes. One move, the federal government increases the state income tax 20%, 25%. Why? Well, the argument is New York has high taxes, and the federal government is going to punish New York for the high state and local taxes. Oh, you're going to punish New York? What happened to states' rights, which was an essential platform in the old gospel of the Republican Party? What happened to states' rights? You're going to punish us. Why don't you punish all state revenues? We have a property tax and an income tax, but every state raises revenue, right? Some states have a value-added tax. Some states have a real estate transfer tax. Why don't you tax those taxes? Why just New York? It's actually New York and 12 other states. Coincidentally, the 12 states are all blue states and not red states. Coincidentally, the 12 states have no representatives in the U.S. Senate. So the Senate plan, conveniently, has a federal tax plan that is funded by the states they don't represent. Isn't politics a beautiful thing? So you're taking from those 12 states to fund the tax cut in the other states. That is what this comes down to, and without justification. Now, you can say, well, you're a Democrat and you're partisan, and no, these are facts I am giving you. I'm not giving you an opinion. And by the way, we have 9 Republican congresspeople in the state of New York. 5 of the 9 are against the plan. Why? Unless the 5 of the 9 actually believe it's going to hurt the people of their district. And it will. And I say to those people who are supporting it, why would you support a plan, even if you believe the plan is right for the nation? And even if you believe, well, if we cut the tax at the top, it's going to trickle down and the middle class will get more benefits and it'll stimulate the economy. Let's say you believe all that. Why would you support a plan that has a special provision that is a dagger at the state of New York, your home state? Why would you ever support that plan? Support the whole plan, but say, do me a favor. Don't kill the people in my district. Now, they have a compromise proposal that says we will cap the amount that is deductible. So people up to $10,000 can deduct, but you can't deduct anything over $10,000. And some Congress people have said, well, I'm going to support that, because then only the rich people in my district have to pay higher taxes. This must be upside down world, okay? You now have a Republican argument that says we should tax the rich. Where am I? How many years has the argument been we're against the millionaire's tax from the Republican Party? Why? Because if you tax the rich, they will leave. The top 10% of taxpayers in the state of New York pay 73% of the taxes. And the argument has been, if you force those high-income earners from the state, we're going to have a real problem. And that was the basis on which they opposed millionaires' taxes and higher taxes. What happened to that argument? The congressman who represents Western New York, who will go nameless, Congressman Collins. He says he supports it because it will have a cap of $10,000, and most of the people in his district don't pay $10,000. He's right. But the people who do pay over $10,000 represent 40% of the state revenue from his district. If they leave and we lose that 40%, what happens? Only one of two things. Option A, government cuts funding, primarily to education. Or option B, that 40% takes their money elsewhere, and the burden then falls to everyone else, the middle class and the working families. That is the reality that we are looking at. And that, my friends, can be devastating to the state of New York, especially to upstate New York, which has a fragile economy that, thanks to you, we're turning around. But this tax plan will set us back, and it will put New York at a competitive disadvantage, because only those 12 states will have this burden. We talk in upstate New York that we have an inherent disadvantage with the climate, which I've never believed. But I was watching a news show this morning, and the meteorologist said, "This is why I moved from Buffalo 35 years ago, because it's -3 in Buffalo." I don't believe that. I think those negative temperatures build character. They make your skin thicker, and they just make you a more well-rounded, seasoned person. Don't you agree? But I don't accept the climate as an obstacle. It would be an obstacle if our taxes are 20% higher than every other state. That would be an obstacle. And that's why we have to fight it, and that's why we have to oppose it. You have made great progress. We have done everything right for 7 years. The facts show the approach is working. We can't have the federal government now pass a tax plan that takes a step backwards and raises the property tax and raises the income tax and sends the exact opposite signal we've sent, where they say to businesses, New York has a higher tax burden than the rest of the country. Go anywhere else but one of those 12 states. It would be a triumph for partisan politics over good policy. And now my opinion. My opinion is it would be political peril for anyone who does it, because the people in this nation are tired of people playing politics over the interest of people. You look at every election that has happened. You look at all the past elections. You look at the election last night. You know what they're saying? I'm tired of you playing politics with my life and my interest and my rights and my values. And what people are saying is, play your own politics, but I sent you there to represent me. and do the right thing by me. The congressional people should not pass a plan for their party bosses that comes out of the pockets of the people they represent. That's the bottom line truth. I'm going to fight it every step of the way. If they do it, I believe it is illegal. It'll be the first time this nation has ever taxed taxes. It literally will be double taxation and put this state at a structural disadvantage. You have done too much, and this state has come too far to be set back now by a knee-jerk political partisan movement. I will fight this economic civil war. Every day I am governor of the state of New York, and any person who believes in New York and believes in fairness and believes in representative government and believes in democracy should fight the plan with us. Congratulations on what you've done, and good luck.
Thank you, Governor. And as the governor said a little earlier in his remarks, economic development is a team sport. We've had great partnership with the legislature, both the Senate and the Assembly. So I'm very pleased to welcome two of our legislative partners in these efforts. Senator George Amador will speak first and be followed by Assemblywoman Helene Weinstein.
Okay, that's two shots. I have to stand on a podium for my height because I'm a short Italian, I guess. And then I had to go after Governor Cuomo and that great speech he gave. I'm not a congressman. Thank you. I'm glad. Well, good morning. Yeah, good morning. And this is an exciting day in New York. Despite the tone and tenure coming out of Washington, this is a great day here in New York. And we're all proud to be New Yorkers, because today we announce some great awards that have made a big difference throughout the state of New York. And I first want to start with sending greetings by Senator John Flanagan. Leader Flanagan was unable to attend this morning. He sends his apologies. But we also, in attendance, not only myself, of our conference, the Senate Majority Conference, we have members of the conference who are here that I would like to introduce. My colleagues, Senator Jim Seward, Senator David Valesky, Senator Joe Griffo, Senator Tom O'Mara, Senator Kathy Marchione, and Senator Phil Boyle. See, we all in the Senate, we do believe that the REDC programs have transformed economic development in the state. Instead of Albany calling the shots, we are encouraging communities to be creative in their approach to smart economic growth. And I can tell you firsthand the difference that these programs have made throughout the state, because I represent a Senate district that has 3 separate REDC councils: the Mid-Hudson Valley Region Council, the Capital Region Council, as well as the Mohawk Valley Region Council. REDC investments are making a real difference in people's lives. It's supporting jobs. It's improving quality of life for so many. And it speaks to the strengths of this program that we are continuing it for the 7th year. And we wouldn't be here today without the vision of our governor, Andrew Cuomo. So thank you. We want to congratulate the awardees, all of the smart, innovative, and creative approach and applications and designs and belief, because that's what you need. You have to believe in your plan. And we believe that these plans will help create that smart growth throughout the state of New York. At this time, I would like to now welcome my colleague from the Assembly, Assemblywoman Helene Weinstein.
Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor Howard, George. Good afternoon. I first would like to also acknowledge some of my Assembly colleagues who are here joining us this afternoon. First, Assemblywoman Donna Lepardo, who was also with me, a member of the SEAT that heard many of the REDC proposals. Donna. Assemblywoman Addie Jenny, Assemblywoman Patricia Fahey, Assemblyman John McDonald, Assemblyman Billy Jones, Assemblyman Mark Butler, and Assemblyman Daniel Steck. Thank you for all of you for being here. As the new chair of the Assembly Ways and Means Committee, it's a pleasure to join you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to join you in acknowledging the innovations and businesses that will usher in the next wave of economic development across our great state. On behalf of Speaker Hastie and all of my Assembly colleagues, those that are here and those that are back home in their districts, I want to extend congratulations to today's awardees and wish them much success in their part to move New York forward. I also want to commend the regional councils for their time, effort, and deliberations throughout this process. Today, we're taking another important step in unlocking the economic potential of New York State. The REDC program, now in its 7th year, championed by the governor and supported by the Assembly and the Senate, is based on a very simple premise. The people understand the needs of their communities and know what's best for their economy. This bottom-up approach ensures that New York State is tapping into local assets and is having the largest possible impact with taxpayer dollars. I've made it a priority to visit some of the projects supported by the regional councils in the past and proposals for this coming round, and it's certainly been a very rewarding experience. From my boat ride up the Hudson and a little bit of a windy weather, to view the Albany and Troy waterfront, observing the exciting nursing education program at Adelphi, to experiencing the innovative IT training programs in the Bronx and the dramatic changes in Kingston's downtown. I've been impressed with how these grants can change people's lives and communities statewide. Along with the governor and the legislature, New York is setting a national example for economic development and showing how smart, effective government can help fuel economic growth. These wins are an important part of the Assembly majority's efforts to support communities and families across the state. And as the governor says, we are sending the message loud and clear that New York is open for business. Thank you, and congratulations to all of today's awardees.
All right. That was great. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you next year. All right. The awards. Let me just remind everyone, each of the 10 regions are competing for a stake of $800 million to pursue their vision. 5 regions will be designated top performers, and the remaining 5 will be what we refer to as regional council awardees. Every region submitted a plan to be proud of. And like I said, I have been on both sides of this for quite some time, and I want to take the opportunity on behalf of the governor to thank everyone for all the work that goes into this, and thank you for bringing your aspiration, for your enthusiasm, for your excitement, and even for your disappointment. It's the fact that you care. You take this personally. I totally get it. Nobody wins every year. Nobody loses every year. We're all in it for long-term transformation. You should all be proud, every one of these regions, for the amazing amount of work that goes into it. So thank you all for doing that, win or lose this year. Remember, we're playing long ball. We're all playing long ball here. Let's start with Western New York. Here's a snapshot of Western New York's plan.
An economic boom is underway right now in Western New York. The buzz is back in Buffalo, and the city is on the list. Cities whose entrepreneurship communities are booming. Buffalo. Cities where millennials are moving. Buffalo. America's favorite cities for architecture. Buffalo. Since 2011, Empire State Development has invested $2.1 billion to spur innovation and growth in the region. That includes $10 million to Olean, a winner of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. The state is seeing a strong return on its investment. 85% of priority REDC projects are complete or on schedule. As the saying goes, everything old is new again, and there isn't a truer depiction of that than Western New York. Adding to the energy and positive vibe around the region, renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright's Darwin Martin House is being restored. The National Historic Landmark will house the newly established Junior League and Buffalo News Learning Center. Also, Bovine Vineyards in Lockport is expanding thanks to a $370,000 grant from New York State. Buffalo Manufacturing Works is advancing an entire industry through state-of-the-art 3D printing, and the Niagara Falls Culinary Institute is training aspiring chefs to push the boundaries of what's possible. From determination to design, vision to preservation, Western New York is checking all the boxes.
Western New York will receive $68.8 million to continue their plan as a regional council awardee. Next, the Finger Lakes region. Let's take a look at their proposal.
Entrepreneurial spirit is thriving in the Finger Lakes. One of the biggest drivers, the Rochester Institute of Technology's Center for Urban Entrepreneurship. It's reshaping the regional economy and building wealth within urban communities. Investments in photonics are also driving the Finger Lakes forward. AIM Photonics is poised to open its testing, assembly, and packaging facility in Eastman Business Park next year, creating an ecosystem of opportunities for business, academic, and government manufacturers and researchers. Downtown Batavia was selected as the winner of the $10 million Downtown Revitalization Initiative in the Finger Lakes region. Its mixed-use downtown with affordable neighborhoods and access to jobs will help spur job growth amongst creative young professionals and those with an entrepreneurial spirit. The Finger Lakes is also home to 100 wineries and farm wineries. Advancing the state's craft beverage and artisan food industries is the New York Wine and Culinary Center in Canandaigua. This lakefront property is educating, engaging, and exciting tourists and locals alike in all the flavorful offerings of the Finger Lakes. Vintners and chefs aren't the only ones finding success in the Finger Lakes. Brewers are booming as well. North American Breweries is investing nearly $50 million to update its facilities and expand the Genesee Brew House in Rochester. It's also creating a beer education center to train new employees. There's plenty to whet your appetite in the region. If you haven't had a taste of the Finger Lakes, what are you waiting for?
The Finger Lakes will receive $63.9 million for their regional projects as a regional council awardee. Welcome Bob Duffy and the contingent. Next up, the Southern Tier.
Since 2011, the state has awarded the Southern Tier $980 million through the URI and REDC initiative, and revitalization stretches across the entire region with new jobs and a growing economy. Watkins Glen, the winner of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, will maintain the Southern Tier soaring moniker by leveraging its internationally recognized racetrack, the Seneca Lake waterfront, and area wine trails. From cars to trains, Alstom Transportation is expanding its facility and operations in neighboring Steuben County to provide next-generation high-speed trains for Amtrak, creating nearly 200 new jobs in the process. In Conklin, Dick's Sporting Goods is now hiring workers to staff its 650,000 square foot distribution center at the Broome County Corporate Park. To accommodate the recent growth in upstate tourism, construction is underway on 8 new tower cottages at the Roxbury at Stratton Falls Hotel, complete with luxurious amenities and a scenic waterfall trail. Urban centers are being transformed into communities for the next generation of workers. This $20 million idea will support creative projects and smart growth technologies in infrastructure and streetscape improvements. The Southern Tier, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
The Southern Tier will receive $67.3 million as a regional council awardee.
Governor, great to see you. Yeah, that was fabulous. You did a great job.
Next up, Central New York.
Central New York Rising is more than a slogan. It's a movement that speaks to an entire industry where the sky is the limit. A state-of-the-art drone testing corridor between Syracuse and Rome, the only one of its kind in North America, allows Griffin Sensors to safely fly its aircraft beyond the line of sight for testing and development. But it's not out of sight, out of mind for the drone industry. More companies are taking notice and setting Central New York in their sights. SRC, headquartered in Cicero, received yet another military contract and plans to hire more than 80 new employees to help strengthen the nation's drone defenses, complementing their plans to create 1,000 new jobs over the next 5 years. While there is something about the air in Central New York, innovation is happening on the ground as well. Cortland, the Central New York winner of the $10 million Downtown Revitalization Initiative, is a major tourist hub and hopes to draw more visitors by inspiring its residents through an expanded creative economy. Downtown Syracuse is now home to more than 3,600 people, with more companies expanding and relocating. Arcadis, TCG Player, and Blue Rock Energy, to name a few. Nearly 30,000 workers come to the region's central business district daily. From Main Street to 30,000 feet, welcome to the new Central New York.
Central New York will receive $86.4 million as a top performer. Next up is the Mohawk Valley.
The Mohawk Valley is a region that refuses to be defined by numbers. While hundreds of projects have leveraged nearly $2 billion in new investment over the last 7 years, this region has a better story to tell. It begins with the birth of the Erie Canal and continues today with inspired innovation that's transforming the regional economy. Griffiths International Airport has a destination for unmanned aerial systems testing, and today its FAA test range is known throughout North America as one of the most advanced test sites in the nation. But it's not just technology that's driving the region, it's the development of its downtowns. Aside from DRI winners Oneonta and Rome, cities across the Mohawk Valley are setting out to produce thriving downtowns that go beyond quaint and affordable. An expansion at the Aud, or Utica Memorial Auditorium, played a key role in the American Hockey League's decision to host the 2018 All-Star Game there, highlighting Utica's revitalization to thousands of tourists and to people watching around the world. Global attention is something to which Sharon Springs is already accustomed, thanks to the continued success of Beekman 1802 Mercantile. The village is experiencing tens of millions of dollars in foreign direct investment and millions more in visitor spending, as international tourists flock to find those fabulous Beekman boys and their famous farm. There's no doubt that the Mohawk Valley's unshakable foundation of grit and perseverance is moving them toward new economic success. But this story is just getting started. It's one of a proud past, a future-forward approach, and a region made of something stronger.
The Mohawk Valley will receive $85.5 million as a top performer. Next up is the North Country.
May all of you return often to this place of God-created grandeur to renew the spirit of cooperation displayed here. New York will welcome you then as it welcomes you now.
In 1980, as in 1932, Lake Placid helped highlight the North Country as a destination worthy of the world's greatest athletes. While steeped in natural beauty and history, the region continues to embrace the evolving needs of international stakeholders and has poised itself to lead the economic renaissance of New York's small cities and communities. The Plattsburgh International Airport has completed its $55 million terminal expansion and is already reaping the rewards of its massive renovation, seeing a 29% increase in passengers boarding at the facility. Educational opportunities have drawn students to the region for generations, but now the Institute for Advanced Manufacturing at Clinton Community College has made the North Country an enticing destination for hands-on high-tech training. One of the region's greatest strengths is fostering growth in advanced transportation manufacturing, and nowhere is that more apparent than at Norsk Titanium. The company is set to create more than 400 new jobs over the next 5 years and is already operating 3 production lines in the area. While the North Country continues on a journey with many paths, there's only one destination: economic progress for its people and its communities. Then, as now, the region brings together tourists near and far, making it a destination for economic progress and a destination for success.
You gotta love the North Country. The North Country will receive $64.9 million for their projects. Next up is the Capital Region.
When you think of a place where cutting-edge video game companies, creative arts facilities founded by rock stars, and a tech-trained workforce thrives, you're probably thinking of Silicon Valley. You have the right idea, but the wrong place. It's Tech Valley we're talking about. All of that and more is happening in New York's Capital Region. Valen Ventures sees the potential to create an industry cluster around video games and game-related technologies and wants to make Troy the top destination on the East Coast for game development. In Hudson, a second-round DRI winner, the council's investment in the creative economy is boosting tourism and making the city a cultural destination. It's there that you'll find Grammy-winning artist Melissa Aufdemar, who co-founded Basilica Hudson, an abandoned factory turned arts and music magnet that's giving emerging artists a platform in the comfort of a small city starting its own renaissance. The region isn't just creating tech jobs, it's training workers of all backgrounds to fill them. At Schenectady County Community College, a program in partnership with the nonprofit Albany Can Code provided courses in web development to those who might not have had the opportunity otherwise. The coding classes address the skill gap for students from undersourced backgrounds, bringing new opportunities for workers while finding a way to develop the tech skills needed for companies today. There's a new energy, a new excitement, and new ideas that are transforming every corner of the region and every sector of the economy. The Capital Region shows that Tech Valley isn't a nickname that's forged, it's earned, thanks to innovators, thinkers, builders, and doers who make Tech Valley move.
The Capital Region will receive $85 million as a top performer. The next region is the Mid-Hudson.
The official motto of New York State is Excelsior, ever upward. It is symbolically the attitude of New Yorkers, the movers and shakers who built our state into the greatest in the nation, from the ground up. But today, there's no place in New York that embodies ever upward quite like the Mid-Hudson region. The Mario M. Cuomo Bridge is on time, on budget, and making significant progress. A physical reminder to New Yorkers that if you can dream it, you can do it. A major transformation is underway in downtown Kingston, a second-round DRI winner thanks to an influx of new investments and a resurgence of small businesses. The Mid-Hudson is also attracting companies specializing in emerging technologies, looking to match jobs with the area's highly educated workforce. At SUNY New Paltz, the Hudson Valley Advanced Manufacturing Center is using 3D printing to help hundreds of clients change the way they do business. The center recently worked with Metaprint in Goshen to make a 3D model for a patient undergoing a complicated heart surgery, so cardiologists could use a lifelike model to create a life-saving approach to the procedure. While the Mid-Hudson helps grow the tech economy, it also knows how to get back to the basics, building up the region one block at a time. Legoland New York is set to break ground in early 2018 and open in the spring of 2020. The $350 million project is expected to create 1,300 positions, not counting construction jobs. Brick by brick, span by span, the Mid-Hudson is poised to move ever upward because in this region, the sky's the limit.
The Mid-Hudson will receive $84.8 million as a top performer. Next up is New York City.
The New York City REDC knows that the greatest feast is the one shared by all. While the city's economy is strong with employment at an all-time high, the council is continuing its focus on ensuring the benefits of prosperity are shared across its neighborhoods and diverse populations. At the NYU Veterans Lab in Brooklyn, veterans are transitioning from a life in service to a lifetime in the innovation economy. The lab builds upon NYU's successful track record to extend opportunities to men and women who served our country, housing workforce development programs, and business space programs for veterans looking to re-enter the workforce or start their own companies. In Manhattan, the galvanized tech campus is training individuals to compete for skills-based computer jobs. Support from the council helped the Colorado-based business renovate a 55,000 square foot space for its first New York City location, providing access to talent for companies and allowing students to learn from world-class industry partners. And the REDC is helping to bring back the Bronx, a Round 2 DRI winner. The Hunts Point Cooperative Market and Food Distribution Center is getting a boost from updated equipment and infrastructure. The state's $1.8 billion project to transform the South Bronx is bringing jobs to the borough and breaking down barriers to revitalization. New York City is no longer a place for only the elite to thrive. The Regional Council, with its community and state partners, are making sure the city's economy gives every New Yorker a seat at the table.
New York City will receive $64.8 million for their regional projects. The final region, Long Island.
When the Long Island REDC calls itself a region on the right track, they aren't just talking about transforming the infrastructure that powers the area. Simply put, they are creating an economy that works for all Long Islanders. The area's biotechnology research and academic communities are thriving, and one of the greatest testaments to that is the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Its $75 million Center for Therapeutics Research broke ground in October and will apply the lab's biomedical expertise to advance therapeutics for genetic diseases including cancer, autism, and diabetes. REDC investment in Adelphi University is helping to fill the increasing demand for nurses. The 22,000 square foot Nursing Innovation Lab and Training Center opened last fall, using cutting-edge digital learning devices and simulated hospital settings to train students and professionals. Hofstra, Stony Brook, Farmingdale, and the New York Institute of Technology are part of the multi-year InGen initiative to renovate and expand engineering classrooms, labs, and teaching environments. That buy-in has a big impact. From 2011 to 2016, engineering enrollments increased more than 45% at each institution. To accommodate that growing population, the Long Island Railroad is improving and expanding service. A third track is being added from Floral Park to DRI Winter Hicksville, decreasing delays and creating development opportunities nearby. On Long Island, the proof is in the progress. The council has broken down barriers and continues to show that there's nothing that can take us off track when we come together for all Long Islanders.
Long Island will receive $84.3 million as a top performer. You bet. All right, you want to do that one more time? That was great. We did it. Thank you all. Thanks to all the regions who did such a great job. Thank you for participating. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.